let our friends know that the reason that we're starting a little later is that everyone just finished their vocab quiz, and I will be sending you your vocab quiz in about an hour since everyone has finished it here. And now we're starting chapter 5 of Goodbye Mr. Chips. We're not doing any questions just yet because we've only just gotten everybody here on Wi-Fi, or almost everyone. James, gotta bring an iPad. And we just got a person on Shobi. So once we get really comfortable with it, and since we're not all on Shobi right now, we don't have the novel, not all of us, to be able to navigate it for answering the questions. Let's just maybe give it until tomorrow. Let's see how we do then. And then I'll throw some questions up on the board and we'll start answering. All right, so Mr. Chips is in love. And now he's married to Catherine. Thank you, Dylan. I did need to say her name again because she's a new character. So we have Catherine, we have Mr. Chips, and I think we are getting to know Mrs. Wicket pretty well. All right, so chapter 5. When Chips, dreaming through the hours at Mrs. Wicket, recollected when he remembered those days, he used to look down at his feet and wonder which one it was that had performed so signal a service. Why is he looking down at his feet and trying to figure out which one to say, "Thank you, Foot. Thank you so much for the good memories"? Why? What happened to him? Do you recall?
He died. His foot.
Huh?
He hurt his foot while climbing a rock.
He didn't die. Oh, I said that back there. He hurt his foot. He was out there on a hike. He thought he saw a damsel in distress, as they say, because Catherine was on a cliff doing this. So he thought he'd run and save her. Come to find out, she didn't need saving. Sometimes when you do this, you're just saying hello to a friend, right? And of course, as he's going to rescue the girl, he trips and he gets hurt. And that's what he's talking about now. I'm so old that right now I don't know which ankle I hurt. But whichever one it is, I'd like to say thank you. Because if I hadn't hurt you, I wouldn't have my Catherine. Make sense?
Sure.
Okie dokie. They're about to vocab us. The trivial cause of so many momentous happenings was the one thing of which details evaded him. But he resaw the glorious hump of the gable, talking about that little mountain he was trying to climb. He'd never visited the Lake District since, and the mouse gray depths of wastewater under the screes, talking about that lake. He could re-smell the washed air after heavy rain and re-follow the ribbon of the pass across the sky head. So clearly it lingered, that time of dizzy happiness, those evening strolls by the waterside, her cool voice and her gay laughter. She had been a very happy person, always. Are y'all getting a little worried that he's remembering her?
Kind of.
They had been so eager, planning a future together, but he had been rather serious about it, even a little awed. It would be all right, of course, her coming to Brookfield, his school, right? He lives near there, he teaches there. After other housemasters were married, and she liked boys, she told him, and would enjoy living among them. Oh, Chips, I'm so glad you are what you are. I was afraid you were a solicitor, or a stockbroker, or a dentist, or a man with a big cotton business in Manchester. Can we talk about these? One of these is a little different. A solicitor, it's kind of sort of the same thing here in South Carolina, but in England, y'all who are playing the interactive game of Goodbye Mr. Chips, a solicitor in England is a lawyer, yeah? They will also use the term barrister in England. In South Carolina, we are still using the British rules of court here. So you have the solicitor's office, sometimes you hear about on the news, that's downtown. The solicitor's office are the government lawyers, yes, who might bring cases against an individual that might need a criminal defense attorney. Basically, you have yourself a lawyer. Here are your synonyms for lawyer. You ready? Attorney. Attorney hyphen at hyphen law. A certain type, solicitor. In England, you also have a barrister. Okay? Being married to a lawyer, I will tell you, they just like to have as many names as possible with their profession. These are people who love words. Okay? So I'm glad you're not a lawyer, is what she's saying. I'm glad you're not a stockbroker. I'm glad you don't, trade money on Wall Street, which would be in America. I'm certainly glad you're not a dentist. And I'm glad you don't own a big cotton business. Manchester is a very, to this day, industrial city in England. So, for some reason, Catherine finds these professions really boring. And she's glad her husband isn't one of these. When I first met you, schoolmastering's so different, so important, don't you think? To be influencing those who are going to grow up and matter to the world. Chip said he hadn't thought of it like that, or at least not often. He did his best. That was all anyone could do in any job. So he doesn't think he's all that and a bag of chips, right? Oh, pardon the pun.
Yep, it took you a second to realize what you're saying.
I'm really punny. Sometimes I accidentally pun myself. I just said that Mr. Chips doesn't think he's all that and a bag of chips. That was nerdy funny.
That's an excellent joke.
That was excellent. Okay, very good. So, yes, of course, Chips, I do love you for saying simple things like that. And one morning, another morning, Jim Clear, when he turned to it, he had, for some reason, been afflicted with an acute desire to depreciate himself in all his attainments. He had told her of his only mediocre degree, of his occasional difficulties of discipline, and of the certainty that he would never get a promotion, and of his complete ineligibility to marry a young and ambitious girl. And at the end of it all, she had laughed in answer. Can I go back to a kind of oddly written sentence in this paragraph? I'm going to get to part of it. Listen to this sentence again. That one morning sentence. He had, for some reason, been afflicted with an acute desire, do you see it here, to depreciate himself.
Depression.
Have you heard of the word appreciate? When you appreciate something, right?
No.
No? When you appreciate something, you're thankful for it. You must like it. Yes? Depreciate is the antonym of appreciate. One day, Chips got up and thought, Catherine thinks too highly of me. Catherine thinks I'm some type of superhero, ninja, school teacher. I gotta tell her the truth today. So he tells her, my college degree, it's just a regular old college degree. It's just mediocre. It's not awesome. It's not the lowest of the low. It's just right there in the middle. He tells her, sometimes, look here, this line right here, sometimes children talk and get out of control, and I don't know what to do. Sometimes there's a hostile takeover in my class. I know, right? Now, not in this class. Y'all are either really hungry, blood sugar's dropping, and you need lunch. But I will tell you, sometimes I've got some people who try. They try to have a hostile takeover of my class, but they haven't met me yet.
That's not
So he's like, sometimes I can't control a classroom. He was certain he'd never get a promotion. You know that paycheck I get, honey bunny? It's never gonna get me better. This is it for me. Okay. Like one day he gets up and he just wants to tell her how not awesome he is. Yeah, what else does he say? He always thought that he had complete ineligibility. He would never be able to marry a young and ambitious girl. He always thought he'd be alone. You think I'm a good teacher? I'm not. You think I went to school for a long time and have all kinds of PhDs? No. No. I'm just ordinary. I'm very ordinary. So could you please quit talking about me in these superhero, crouching tiger, hidden teacher kind of ways? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Parker is scaring me. I can only see his eyes. You're smiling. I saw a lot. Okay, good.
You can't see my face at all.
How do you know I was smiling? How do you know I was smiling?
Oh, no, I saw you finally. You were holding your breath and then you had to giggle a little. I saw it. You thought it was funny. So she had no parents talking about Catherine and was married from the house of an aunt in Ely. On the night before the wedding, when Chips left the house to return to his hotel, she said with mock gravity, we've used this word a little bit. Anymore, because we're so close to the space age, we're now in the computer age or age of Aquarius, depends on who you're talking to, if they were hippie or not, my parents. When we think of gravity, don't you think of the guys on the moon bouncing around? Or what is the one, you can pay, like $250,000 to go really high up in a plane where they'll let you experience, and yeah, and like Tom Cruise is gonna do it for a movie or something like that. When we think of gravity, we think of scientific gravity sometimes. Shelby, you said no, so you already know. When you say something in a grave voice, it's also a root word of this, when you are using gravity, everyone, I need to talk to you about something. If I used gravity in my speech, if I walked in here one day and I was like, hey y'all, I need for you to put your iPads down real quick and I need for you to listen up, okay? I have something really serious to talk to you about. All right, A, what you think something horrible has just happened, or B, what you think you're in trouble. Gravity is seriousness. It's when you're being serious. It's when I put on that serious voice. Otherwise, if I walk in here today, you weren't here when I walked in and I had the really lame extension cord. But I walked in here like doo-doo-doo, and I was like, hey guys, look at that. Oh, he's not here. Because I had my extension cord finally, so I wasn't like blowing hot air on my friend over there, right? So today, I certainly didn't walk in here with like an air of gravity, like everything was serious. I was just happy I found an extension cord. Y'all don't realize how hot the fan gets from that. Like he always,
They were here breaking a sweat from sitting down.
It affects the temperature. I will tell you that. So, her kind of voice though is mock gravity. And when you're mocking someone, you're making fun of them. So right now she's making fun of being serious. Probably, Mr. Chips, we need to talk right away. She's pretending to be serious. So here's what she says. This is an occasion, this last farewell of ours. I feel rather like a new boy beginning his first term with you. Not scared, mind you, but just for once in a thoroughly respectful mood. Shall I call you sir, or would Mr. Chips be the right thing? Mr. Mr. Chips, I think. Goodbye then. Here's our title. Goodbye, Mr. Chips. A handsome. Have you ever heard of that word? It's not what you think. Let me show you again. Get my highlighter. Look at this word. I broke it, Isaac.
That's on you.
It is, right? Isaac, where's my cursor?
Don't ask me.
Oh, why can't my cursor be larger for old people?
I can see it.
Where's my cursor?
It's right there. On FaceTime.
Oh, it's on FaceTime. Which, by the way, I never time a face. Ah, there you go, Trenton. Okie dokie. This word, handsome. When you say it, it sounds like, look at that boy. He's so handsome. Yeah, but it's not. A handsome is a smaller type of carriage. Yeah? Remember, we were back in 1896. We do not have an automobile. There is no car.
Yes, sir. There's
Okay.
25.
We have some people thinking about it though, right? Henry Ford, assembly lines, stuff like that. But this handsome is going to be a 1, a 2. If you get any larger, like a 4-seater carriage, a horse-drawn carriage, really not a handsome. You want to be quick. Yeah, so a 2-seater typically carriage, they can just whip around if that horse really wants to run. Yeah, that handsome's just flying along back. But that used to be the way you got around town pretty quickly, okay, particularly in London. So it's a horse-drawn carriage. It's the Uber of 1896
Beep, beep.
with horses.
Venmo.
I don't think so. I guess like carrot or something. I don't know for the horses. So a handsome clopping because of that horse in the roadway, green pale gas lamps flickering on a wet pavement because we really don't have electricity yet. Newsboys shouting something about South Africa. There's a war going on. They're called the Boers, B-O-E-R-S, right? Sherlock Holmes in Baker Street. Not a real person, but many people thought he was.
There's a house which is like his exact address in the books in London.
I know, so I went there. Everybody does. Everybody does. And you get your picture taken. And they've made it more touristy and like a tourist trap. But Sherlock Holmes wasn't real, you know, and there are a lot of people who think that Sherlock Holmes from the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books was a real guy. So there is that mistake, but clearly if I went there, Isaac, I'm a super fan. So yes, I had on, and here, I'm a geeky super fan, Isaac. I only look cool, okay? I totally had on a deerstalker.
What?
It was his hat that he wore. A deerstalker is a hat that has ear flaps to it, but what you do is you can button them or tie them like he did up here. So we had deerstalkers on, and we took a picture by the
Last
picture.
Year, like at the state museum, they had a big thing, a big thing for Sherlock Holmes.
Yes,
Like
I
that
went.
extra.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I went with my grandma.
I'm actually a geek. I think that I should admit this now, Sydney. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. And it's okay. I'm a nerd. I own it. I own it. So, goodbye, Mr. Chips, again. So, chapter 6, okay, we'll need to start maybe tomorrow, okay? And then if we get an iPad back there, get you on it, answer some questions. Let me ask you a question, since this is really our first full week of school and it's a Thursday. 2 questions. Did you like my style of vocab quiz?
Yes. It was easy.
That would be Yas Queen. Thank you.
Yas Queen.
Thank you.
Yes, queen.
Perfect.
No, it's a y'all.
Yes, queen.
Dylan, please practice it at break with him because he does not.
Yes.
My man needs some help. The second thing is that you need to get used to. Do I give reading homework?
No.
But please try to read anything for 10 minutes, okay, or more. Anything. All right? So, you know that I am gonna go
I do.
and start giving some temperatures. And you know that you can just stop that. All right, and we'll see our people tomorrow. Bye.
What about
Look, have a
temperatures?
good day.
Oh wait, tell them bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace. See ya.